Since we're getting a lot of questions from candidates and clients about what we're seeing in the market, we thought this would be a good opportunity to have discussion about that and share our thoughts and ideas with all of you. So today I'm joined by Angela Lopes, who is the director of our City office, and we're going to be talking about some of the different trends that we're seeing in the market at the moment. Angela, I'm going to start by asking you, what are some of the candidate trends that you've seen over the last quarter?
I would say there's been a continued demand for flexible working. I don't really see that changing in the next quarter or this year. There was certainly an increase in inquiries last quarter, those reaching out to see what's going on in the market, positions that we're expecting to have come through in the new year. And a lot of that is with a view that when candidates are expecting to get bonuses, typically February, March time, they will then be looking to resign. I think in turn that's going to have a knock-on effect with new roles opening up for candidates into Q2 this year. What have you seen on the client side? Any trends last quarter?
Yeah, clients, I would say people are feeling it's not as challenging to find talent as it might have been in, say, Q1 or Q2, or even in Q3. It was sort of Q3 where people started to see things easing up a little bit, and that continued on into Q4 as well. I would say companies are still finding, they do need to work hard to make the right hires. A bit of that now has potentially come from candidates wanting to stay put and see what the market actually does before they make a decision to move on, and candidates are being a lot more considered about their choices on which companies they want to move to next. Angela, I guess, we've talked about Q4 moving into 2023. What are you expecting to see for candidates?
I think a lot of what we've seen last year, I think the demand for the flexible working is going to be, I can't see that slowing down. And I think higher salaries, it's again something that any candidate looking to move is always going to be seeking an increase.
I think we'll also see candidates starting to really consider the moves they're making, because a lot of what we saw in Q4 as well were probably candidates coming back onto the market, having joined a company and then finding it wasn't exactly what they were looking for as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think certainly see a wider emphasis on people thinking more about their reasons for leaving or wanting to leave a role and move into a new position, whether it's money, progression, the flexibility, all those factors.
Yeah.
What do you expect to see on the client side?
I think there are probably going to be more companies having conversations around their flexible working policy. It's starting to happen now. I think in an ideal world, there are a lot of employers that would like to see their staff in the office more, but there is also that awareness of what candidates are looking for, and that candidates do want the flexible working, therefore not wanting to change anything that could result in losing staff or needing to hire again. A lot of companies, whether it was through end-of-year appraisals or mid-year, really had to look at salary reviews and uplift a lot of their internal staff salary. So I think that will hopefully kind of settle things down on the salary increases now. Obviously, a lot of that was aligned with conversations people were having about the increased cost of living. I think companies will probably be a little bit measured about their hiring, and a lot of companies are going to be using this time as an opportunity to look at their staff, make sure that all divisions are working efficiently, and that sort of aligns with some of what we're seeing in the market with companies and clients at the moment. Angela, I think you've seen a bit of that from your clients, haven't you?
I can't really see a huge amount changing, and I think that with the candidates that are going to be looking to move, I can only see it continuing on. With clients, there been any top reasons for candidates leaving their roles?
I think a lot of it has been to do with candidates going into positions and realising it's not what they thought it would be. A lot of candidates have probably been a little bit dazzled by these, high salary offers that were coming through, and, gone for roles and then just sort of got to their new place of employment and realised it's not what they expected it to be. So I would say that's sort of one of the newer things that we haven't seen before, and more we're getting candidates that they might have got a job 2 months ago and they're coming back to us now saying, actually, this hasn't worked out. And in addition to that, it's sort of the same sort of reasons around the flexible working policy and companies changing their flexible working policy, or just looking for more money or looking for progression now as well?
So I guess in terms of when candidates are looking for a new position, advice really would be to make sure that they have a list of reasons as to why they want to leave their current employer, and make sure that they are focusing, and certainly in interviews. I mean, I think one of the key things is where clients and candidates will be wanting, and I have certainly seen trying to move forward with face-to-face interviews more so than relying on video, be able to get a better insight into culture, the company, meeting more people within the organization, so that they're not just leaving for that higher salary, or it's so that they are ensuring that they'll get the progression that they've been promised perhaps.
Video interviews have got their place in terms of speeding up processes and making sure that you can perhaps see a greater number of candidates in a shorter space of time. But then I think it is vital that companies are including that face-to-face interview process as part of their recruitment drive again, and really sort of understanding that, sort of meeting the team and getting the understanding of someone's drivers and what their values are in relation to what the business is looking for. And the other thing I think we've seen, which I think is going to continue as well, is just that focus on diversity and inclusion in hiring, because that's what's going to ensure that you're getting the best talent out in the market and the widest group of talent. And I think that that's something that we're really seeing is important for our clients as well.
Absolutely. And I think what will be a big challenge for candidates is being able to attend these interviews face to face during the working day. It has been a struggle for candidates to be able to get either out of the office or to come into London if they are working from home in order to attend those interviews, which I expect will only continue this year.
Yeah. And I do think for a number of reasons, December was an interesting month. There were a lot of strikes on. I think a lot of companies decided to just kind of take stock and sit back and wait and see what the market was doing. But I don't really think we're seeing any major impact of changes in the market on company hiring or anything on that side. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, certainly even day two into the new year, there's new positions coming through, and plans are still the same.
Agreed.